Little did I think, when we flew to the North Pole in 1926, would become one of the most important strategic areas on the face of the Earth.
In the early 20th century, Admiral Richard Byrd, a well-known explorer, led groundbreaking expeditions to the South Pole. These missions tested the limits of human endurance and revealed hidden secrets beneath the Antarctic ice. Now, decades later, the last surviving member of Byrd's team has come forward with astonishing new details about what really happened during those expeditions. What did they uncover in Antarctica, and why have these discoveries remained hidden for so long? Join us as we explore the remarkable truth behind Admiral Byrd's journey, as told by the last living witness. Admiral Byrd's Antarctic journey. Admiral Richard E. Byrd was one of the most decorated officers in the history of the U.S. Navy. Known for his exceptional accomplishments, he remains the only person to have been honored with 3 ticker tape parades in New York City in 1926, 1927, and 1930. His impact was so significant that he is one of just 4 American military officers to have a medal created in his likeness. Byrd's achievements, authenticity, and recognition are unmatched in many ways. However, what truly cemented Admiral Byrd's legacy was his passion for exploration. He ventured into some of the most remote and difficult places on Earth, driven by a fierce determination to lead and break new ground. This ambition made him the youngest admiral in U.S. Navy history at the age of 41. Byrd's explorations took him on 5 expeditions to Antarctica, spanning from the early 20th century to the early 21st century. His later expeditions were supported by the U.S. government, while the first 2 were privately funded, with Byrd himself investing his own resources and gaining support from private donors. In 1928, Byrd led his first Antarctic expedition with 2 ships and 3 airplanes, using the summer months to take aerial photographs and study the geology of the area. This journey was marked by groundbreaking scientific exploration and ongoing radio communication with the rest of the world. Byrd's second Antarctic expedition, which took place during the summers of 1933 and 1934, was more personal. He spent 5 months alone at an advanced weather station called Advanced Base. During this time, Byrd had a close brush with death due to carbon monoxide poisoning, the result of poor ventilation in his stove. While these early expeditions were viewed as highly successful and without controversy, Byrd's third journey in the late 1930s drew unexpected attention. It was during this time that the U.S. government began to closely monitor Byrd's activities, adding an element of mystery and intrigue to his legacy. Operation High Jump, Admiral Byrd's Antarctic mission. From 1946 to 1947, Admiral Richard E. Byrd led Operation High Jump, an ambitious expedition that established the research base Little America on the Ross Ice Shelf in Antarctica. The continent of Antarctica has long presented a formidable challenge to explorers, and World War II only highlighted its harsh conditions. American ships and aircraft struggled to navigate its freezing waters and brutal weather. Even vessels accustomed to the Arctic found the Antarctic environment nearly impossible to handle, and many planes flying from Greenland and Iceland often crashed due to extreme conditions. In response to these challenges, the U.S. developed a plan to improve how ships and planes could operate in such hostile climates. At the same time, there was growing strategic interest in whether long-range operations in Antarctica could be feasible. This led to the creation of Operation High Jump, a naval expedition aimed at addressing these problems and exploring the potential of the Antarctic region. The mission's goals were twofold: to test equipment in extreme cold and to extensively map the region. The detailed mapping was intended for potential territorial claims and to satisfy the Pentagon's curiosity about the strategic possibilities in Antarctica. Admiral Byrd, renowned for his leadership and expertise in polar exploration, was chosen to lead this significant undertaking. The mission was so efficiently executed that it ended ahead of schedule. This operation was crucial for preparing ships and planes for future winter operations, particularly as tensions with the Soviet Union began to rise. Notably, B-29 bombers, capable of carrying nuclear weapons, were equipped for cold weather missions, enabling them to fly from Alaska if necessary. However, while the official government story outlines Operation High Jump as a test of equipment and mapping efforts, the size and scope of the mission have sparked questions. If it was just a routine exercise, why did the operation involve 14 ships, 33 aircraft, and roughly 4,700 heavily armed personnel? Among the forces were destroyer tankers, heavily armed seaplanes, and an attack submarine, all equipped with the Navy's most advanced weaponry. For what seemed like a routine exercise, the level of military might seem excessive. This led to speculation that the mission's true purpose was much more than a simple training drill. Some suggest the U.S. was preparing to face a hidden Nazi threat in Antarctica, a theory that continues to fuel intrigue about Operation High Jump to this day. Hitler's secret expedition to Antarctica in 1938. In December 1938, Adolf Hitler authorized a carefully planned expedition to Antarctica, a mission shrouded in secrecy and filled with ambition. With the looming threat of war, Hitler sought every possible advantage, even from sources many would have dismissed as absurd. At a time when most nations were preparing for battle, Hitler was dispatching soldiers and scientists to search for ancient artifacts that could potentially offer a strategic edge. While some might view this as a strange and risky move, for Hitler, any avenue that could provide even the slightest advantage was worth exploring. One such expedition set sail on December 17, 1938, aboard the SAS Schwabenland. On board were not only scientists and engineers, but also members of the Thule Society, a secretive German group known for its racist and anti-Semitic ideology. The Thule Society believed in the existence of a superior human-like race called the Aryans, whom they claimed lived deep beneath the Earth's surface. Legend spoke of a mysterious place known as the Aryan Domain, a hidden realm with its entrance said to lie at the South Pole. During World War II, Hitler gave the SAS Schwabenland a covert mission to find a suitable location for an underground base and attempt contact with the inhabitants of this so-called Inner Earth. The goal was to explore whether these beings possessed advanced technology that could aid Nazi Germany in the war. After a month-long journey, the expedition finally reached the Antarctic coast. Over the next several weeks, they conducted extensive mapping of the continent, venturing nearly 150 miles inland. During their aerial surveys, they made a surprising discovery: a vast Antarctic oasis covering around 300 square miles. Unlike the icy surroundings, this oasis was warm and teeming with plant life, a shocking find in such a barren, frozen region. The warmth was caused by a geothermal vent beneath the surface, creating a pocket of life in the otherwise inhospitable landscape. Recognizing the strategic potential of this discovery, the Nazis decided to establish a secret underground base, later known as Base 211. This hidden facility, rumored to house advanced technology, has remained a subject of fascination and speculation ever since, with its true purpose and the events surrounding it still wrapped in mystery. During World War II, Base 211 reportedly evolved into a large complex, resembling a small city beneath the ice. This expansion caught the attention of the U.S. government, which launched Operation High Jump, one of the largest Antarctic expeditions of the time. While the operation was intended to last 6 to 8 months, it was abruptly cut short after just 40 days. The official explanation from the U.S. Navy cited worsening weather as the cause, despite February being the height of summer in Antarctica, ideal for conducting cold weather tests. This inconsistency gave rise to various conspiracy theories. One particularly intriguing mystery surrounding Operation High Jump involves Admiral Richard Byrd, who led the mission. During a routine flight over the South Pole, Byrd's live radio transmissions, which were being relayed to the American public, suddenly went silent for nearly 3 hours. Neither the Navy nor his team could establish contact with him, and his whereabouts during that time remained unknown. Years later, Byrd's personal diary was published, providing details of those lost hours. According to his account, while flying beyond a small mountain range, he encountered an unexpected sight. Instead of the icy wasteland he anticipated, Byrd found a valley with a flowing river and lush greenery. To his astonishment, there were thick forests on the nearby mountains, an unnatural contrast to the frozen Antarctic landscape. As Byrd navigated this surreal terrain, he faced another strange phenomenon. His aircraft's instruments malfunctioned, with the gyroscope swinging erratically and the navigation systems failing. Adding to the mystery, Byrd realized he could no longer see the sun, which left him disoriented. Without sunlight, he lost his primary means of navigation, commenting, "The light here feels different. I can't spot the sun anymore." While grappling with this eerie environment, Byrd spotted a large, prehistoric-looking creature below. At first glance, it resembled an elephant, but upon closer inspection, it looked like a mammoth. "This is incredible," Byrd exclaimed as he ordered the plane to descend to 1,000 feet for a better look. As he attempted to radio his findings back to base, the communication equipment failed. Moments later, Byrd witnessed something even more astonishing, a city-like structure. His aircraft began to feel unusually light, and despite his efforts, it would not respond to his controls. As he neared the mysterious city, two brightly shining, disc-shaped aircraft approached from both sides. They bore strange symbols, and as they drew closer, Byrd's radio suddenly crackled to life. A voice with a Northern European or Germanic accent spoke in English, reassuring him that they would assist with his landing. The unexpected end of Byrd's journey and the strange occurrences described in his diary have sparked decades of speculation. While the official record provides one account, Byrd's personal experiences raise fascinating questions about what truly happened during Operation High Jump and what secrets Antarctica may still hold. Despite being in the midst of World War II, trusting someone with such an accent was like dealing with the unknown. Nevertheless, Byrd found himself helpless as his plane's engines mysteriously stopped working, forcing the aircraft to land on its own. Approaching the aircraft were several tall men with light hair, adding to the mystery of the encounter. In the distance, a large, shiny city glowed with many colors that Byrd had never seen before. Unsure of what would happen next, Byrd watched figures coming closer without any visible weapons. A voice called his name, telling him to open the cargo door. He did as instructed, and a bird-like craft was taken out and placed on a platform without wheels, which moved smoothly into the city. Byrd was amazed by what he saw, a city made from crystal-like materials that shone with stunning beauty. He was taken into a large building, where he met someone called the Master. The Master was an older man with kind features, sitting at a long table. He motioned for Byrd to sit down, then smiled gently, intertwining his fingers as he spoke. "We've let you in because of your good character, known on the surface world," the Master said calmly. "Admiral of the surface world?" Byrd whispered in surprise. "Yes," the Master replied with a smile. "You're now in Agartha, the inner world of the Earth." Byrd was shocked. If what the Master said was true, it meant that everything known about the universe and Earth was fundamentally wrong. There is an interesting idea known as the hollow Earth theory. Some people strongly believe that there was, and perhaps still is, an entrance to the center of the Earth. Back in the 1690s, an English astronomer named Edmund Halley presented a fascinating idea to the Royal Society of London. He suggested that the Earth is made up of multiple round layers, one inside the other, spinning in different directions around a central core. Halley thought that the spaces between these layers might have conditions that could support life. In 1810, an American officer named John Cleves Sims expanded on Halley's idea. He supposed that these round layers could be accessed through openings at both the North and South poles. According to some believers, this hidden world inside the Earth is inhabited by aliens, Vikings, ancient civilizations, and even Nazis trying to escape from the Allies. They also claim that biblical figures like Adam and Eve were banished from inside the Earth to the surface, and that the lost tribes of Israel migrated from the surface to the inner world. Of course, these ideas are considered disproven by many governments, and many people believe they are just myths. However, there's an interesting story about Admiral Richard Byrd, a respected explorer. He claimed to have met beings from this inner world during one of his trips. According to the story, a leader from inside the Earth told Byrd that they meant no harm and wanted to talk with him because he was a person of influence on the surface. The leader explained that their civilization was worried about the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki during World War II. They were so alarmed by the destructive power of these bombs that they decided to risk being discovered and send their flying ships to investigate. This leader asked Byrd to deliver a message to the surface world, urging humanity to reconsider its use of such devastating weapons. While the hollow Earth theory and these stories are widely regarded as fictional, they continue to capture the imagination of many, blending elements of history, legend, and speculative fiction into an interesting narrative. Surprisingly, this matches many eyewitness accounts of UFO sightings during that time. Interestingly, these UFOs were often seen near nuclear plants, which could be used for nuclear warfare. Later, these plants would often report that something had stopped working or had been sabotaged, like in the case of the Solway Firth spaceman. It's strange to think or say, but strangely, we haven't had a World War III, though no one is praying for it to happen. But given how humanity often prefers division over unity, it's just weird. Maybe we owe our lives to these beings. The Master keeps saying they have to step in because mankind has started to mess with dangerous powers. Their emissaries have already delivered messages to the leaders of our world, but they are not listening. Our race has now reached a point of no return, where some people would rather destroy the world than give up their power. The Dark Ages are coming, the Master warned, covering the Earth like a shadow. However, some people will survive the storm. Beyond that, I cannot say much, but I see a new world emerging from the ruins. In seeking lost and legendary treasures, these beings will be here, safe in their care, and when the time is right, they will come forward again to help revive our culture and race. By then, we might have learned the futility of war and strife. After that time, some of our culture and science will be returned for us to start anew. Admiral Byrd was given this full message and then escorted out of the room. He soon arrived back at his aircraft and was escorted out of the Crystal City. As soon as they left the city, a radio message came through. "We are leaving you now, Admiral. Your controls are free." And that was it. Byrd was confused about what had just happened, but finally, his radio was working, and the Navy could reach him. Byrd's mysterious diary, dated March 11, 1947, detailed these events. After Admiral Byrd's Antarctic expedition suddenly ended, he attended a meeting at the Pentagon. There, he told everyone about what he had seen and the messages he had received. After this meeting, Byrd was held for exactly 6 hours and 39 minutes. During this time, he underwent intense interviews with top security officials and a medical team. He was ordered to keep quiet about everything he had seen or heard at the mysterious Crystal City. Being a military man, Byrd had to follow these orders. This strategy worked, as Byrd rarely gave interviews after Operation High Jump. He was careful about what he shared, but he wrote down his experiences in his diary, which was later published after his death, possibly as his final statement. After leaving the expedition and returning to Chile, where the Navy regrouped before heading home, Byrd gave an interview to a Chilean journalist. In this interview, he mysteriously mentioned that the U.S. would face a threat from an enemy capable of flying from one pole to the other. This statement confused many until Byrd's diary became public. leading people to wonder if he was referring to the civilization he encountered at the South Pole. Adding to the mystery, Secretary of Defense James Forrestal's strange death further fueled speculation. Official reports said Forrestal committed suicide by jumping from a window at a psychiatric hospital in Maryland shortly after Operation High Jump. Forrestal had been arguing for the existence of aliens and wanted to inform the American public, but he was declared mentally unstable, admitted to a hospital, and then died under suspicious circumstances. With the Forrestal gone, the person who knew about Operation High Jump and was willing to talk about it was silenced, closing the case and keeping it mysterious. As often happens in such situations, some critics bring up valid points about people making up stories. Sometimes we find ourselves in a critical role when examining such stories. For example, stories of equipment not working properly being blamed on aliens were later explained by scientists as simply caused by extreme cold. This is exactly why Operation High Jump was initially set up. Furthermore, when discussing the United States being attacked from the pole, it was actually about potential German threats moving from the South Pole to the North Pole, not about aliens invading. Journalists often have a talent for making ordinary things seem exciting to get attention and sell more newspapers. One of the biggest criticisms was that the supposed diary of Admiral Byrd, documenting his trips to the poles, never existed. It was all made up, similar to the debunking of Byrd's claim to be the first man at the North Pole, a title he held for a long time, even after he died. Eventually, the investigation showed he wasn't the first after all. However, what worries everyone deeply is how almost every country, despite their disagreements on many issues, managed to come together peacefully about Antarctica. This unity is shown in the Antarctic Treaty, signed in the 1960s, which sets rules for the continent and encourages international cooperation and peace. Antarctica is a place surrounded by strange political secrecy. Ordinary people can't visit unless they are scientists or have special permission. It's mostly off-limits to the public, except for a few expensive tourist cruises. Interestingly, those who operate these cruises often have ties to intelligence agencies, which means they might not reveal everything they know. The Antarctic Treaty is meant to protect the continent's resources and environment, which sounds good, but strangely, people from anywhere in the world aren't allowed to go there freely. Over the past few decades, there have been odd stories and even reports of UFOs seen rising from the ocean in that region. Even though Admiral Byrd's diary is believed by some to be fake, it still raises questions. For example, during one flight, he was reportedly missing for 3 hours. Where was he during that time when they couldn't reach him? How did he manage to stay in the air for more than 3 hours without refueling? Adding to the mystery are the deaths surrounding these events. The Secretary of Defense died under mysterious circumstances, and Admiral Byrd's son was found dead in an abandoned warehouse in Baltimore just days before the supposed fake diary was released. His official cause of death was malnutrition and dehydration. These unresolved incidents make what should be a closed case remain open for investigation, sparking continued curiosity and speculation. In the quiet and cozy Antarctic Research Station, Dr. Elena Frost, the last surviving member of Admiral Byrd's expedition, reveals the truth about Antarctica. The winds howled outside, echoing the loneliness that had surrounded her for so long. Dr. Frost's eyes shone with a mix of worry and freedom as she began describing her difficult journey. She spoke of huge, icy landscapes hiding old ruins and strange objects, remains of civilizations lost to history for a long time. Her voice shook with passion as she described encounters with beings that were hard to understand, guardians of knowledge hidden under the ice for thousands of years. She revealed how the expedition's real goal had been to uncover these secrets, not just to explore. The world wasn't prepared, she explained, for the truths we had discovered, truths about where humanity started and its role in the universe. As she spoke, the journalist's doubt disappeared, replaced by wonder and a feeling of urgency to share this discovery with everyone. Dr. Frost's story portrayed Antarctica not only as a frozen desert, but as a place full of mysteries that could change how civilization sees itself. Could Antarctica hold the secrets to our ancient origins and cosmic connection? Let us know your answer in the comments section. Antarctic Treaty System. The Antarctic Treaty and related agreements, known together as the Antarctic Treaty System, ATS, govern how countries interact with Antarctica, the only continent on Earth without native human inhabitants. It was the first agreement of its kind during the Cold War, stating that Antarctica is solely for scientific research, guaranteeing freedom for scientific studies and prohibiting military activities. According to the treaty, Antarctica includes all the land and ice shelves below the 60° south latitude. Since September 2004, the Antarctic Treaty Secretariat, which manages the treaty system, has been based in Buenos Aires, Argentina. The main treaty was open for countries to sign starting December 1, 1959, and officially came into effect on June 23, 1961. The original countries that signed were the 12 nations that had active research programs in Antarctica during the International Geophysical Year of 1957 to 1958: Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Chile, France, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, the Soviet Union, the United Kingdom, and the United States. These countries had established more than 55 research stations in Antarctica during the IGY, and signing the treaty was seen as a diplomatic way to continue cooperative scientific efforts after World War II. The United States considered asserting control over territory in Antarctica. In 1946, they launched Operation High Jump, the largest Antarctic expedition ever, with 13 ships and 4,700 personnel. This expedition aimed to train military personnel and test equipment in extremely cold conditions, preparing for potential military activities. In 1947, the United States included its Antarctic interests in the security zone of the Inter-American Treaty of Reciprocal Assistance, aiming to defend it against external threats. In 1948, the United States proposed placing Antarctica under United Nations control, managed by a group of countries including Argentina, Australia, Chile, France, the United States, the United Kingdom, and New Zealand. However, this proposal was rejected by several countries. Instead, Chile suggested suspending all territorial claims in Antarctica for 5 to 10 years to facilitate negotiations, but this proposal did not gain support. In 1950, concerns arose that the Soviet Union might assert territorial claims in Antarctica, potentially escalating Cold War tensions into the continent. This led the United States to propose an international agreement to prevent such claims. Various conflicts and incidents during and after World War II prompted the creation of a formal agreement for Antarctica. During the 1950s, there were several disputes over territory involving Argentina, Chile, and the United Kingdom, which led to diplomatic tensions and legal challenges. The International Geophysical Year from 1957 to 1958 marked a significant period of international scientific cooperation in Antarctica, leading to the creation of the Antarctic Treaty. This treaty aimed to maintain Antarctica as a place for peaceful scientific research, ensuring that activities there would not result in territorial claims. The Antarctic Treaty aimed to ensure free scientific research and peaceful use of Antarctica. It also promoted no military activities and kept things the same. The treaty bans nuclear tests, military activities, making money from resources, and claiming land in Antarctica. Regular checks make sure everyone follows the rules, with only science stations allowed as permanent buildings. The original countries, including 7 claiming Antarctic lands and 5 others, have control rights. Other countries can join as advisory members through big Antarctic research programs. Others can join too. From 1991 to 1992, 33 countries updated the treaty, creating the Madrid Protocol for protecting the environment and stopping mining and oil searching for 50 years. During talks, the United States, Soviet Union, United Kingdom, and New Zealand first wanted the UN to run Antarctica. Australia and the UK wanted to watch and make sure rules were followed, with the UK suggesting military help. Argentina wanted no atomic bombs, which led to a big problem until the USSR and Chile helped. The US then agreed, and the meeting ended. The treaty signing marked the first agreement during the Cold War to control arms, and it successfully prevented international ownership disputes over Antarctica. As of 2048, any country that is part of the treaty can propose changes to its rules and norms with the support of most members. Additional agreements resulting from treaty meetings and government ratification include measures to protect Antarctic wildlife and plants, the Agreement on the Conservation of Antarctic Seals, the Agreement on the Conservation of Antarctic Marine Life, the Agreement on the Regulation of Antarctic Mining, and the Protocol on Environmental Protection to the Antarctic Treaty. This protocol prohibits mining and focuses on protecting the Antarctic environment, covering areas like marine pollution, wildlife, environmental assessments, waste management, and protected zones. In 1938, Australia, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and France established rules for flying over Antarctica, which were formalized through an exchange of diplomatic notes. Fast forward to 2003, Australia and France took their cooperation further by signing a treaty to collaborate in managing areas around the French Southern and Antarctic territories, as well as Heard Island and the McDonald Islands. By 2007, both countries agreed to jointly enforce fishing regulations in these regions. Each year, the Antarctic Treaty System holds its Antarctic Treaty Consultative Meetings, a key platform for managing the region. While 57 countries are part of the treaty, only 29 have voting rights. These 29, known as the consultative parties, include the original 12 signatories and 17 others with active roles in Antarctic scientific research. The remaining participants can attend but do not have voting privileges. Additionally, Special Antarctic Treaty Consultative Meetings, SATCM, are occasionally convened to address major issues, with expert meetings held alongside to provide specialized insights. As of 2024, the Antarctic Treaty has 57 signatory countries. Among them, 29 nations, including the 7 countries that claim parts of Antarctica, have consultative status, granting them the right to vote on decisions. Notably, the other 49 signatory countries do not recognize these territorial claims. Moreover, 42 treaty parties have also ratified the Protocol on Environmental Protection, underscoring the commitment to preserving the unique ecosystem of Antarctica. The Antarctic Treaty Secretariat, based in Buenos Aires, Argentina, has been operational since September 2004, following a gathering of involved nations. Its first executive secretary, John Huber from the Netherlands, served until 2009, after which Germany's Manfred Rea took over. In 2017, Albert Lueras from Uruguay was elected to the position in Beijing, China. The Secretariat plays a crucial role in coordinating the annual meetings, ensuring effective governance of Antarctica and protecting its environment. They manage the exchange of information among treaty members, maintain and publish official documents, and keep the public informed about activities and decisions related to Antarctica. Antarctica, with no permanent residence or central government, remains a region claimed by various nations, though these claims are not universally recognized. Interestingly, there is one unclaimed section of the continent located between 90 degrees west and 150 degrees west. Countries that are part of the Antarctic Treaty and its environmental protocol enforce their regulations through national laws, which govern the activities of their citizens in Antarctica. These laws are designed to protect the environment, covering everything from tourism to scientific research. The Antarctic Treaty is often seen as a model of global cooperation, treating the continent as a shared global heritage. For example, Australia set up laws for its Antarctic territory even before the treaty came into force. In a similar vein, the United States enforces its laws, including criminal statutes, in Antarctica, with special deputy U.S. Marshals stationed there for law enforcement. One significant U.S. law relevant to Antarctica is the Antarctic Conservation Act, Public Law 95-541, which regulates a wide range of activities in the region. This includes strict rules against hunting native wildlife, introducing non-native species, accessing protected areas, polluting the environment, or bringing certain items from Antarctica back to the U.S. Violating these regulations can result in fines of up to $10,000 or imprisonment for up to 1 year. Enforcement is a joint effort by several U.S. departments, including Treasury, Commerce, Transportation, and Interior. Additionally, any U.S. expedition planning to visit Antarctica must notify the State Department's Office of Oceans and Polar Affairs, which shares this information with other treaty nations. In 2006, a tragic incident occurred at the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station, involving the death of Australian astrophysicist Rodney Marks. Initially believed to be from natural causes, it was later revealed that methanol poisoning was the cause. The investigation, led by New Zealand authorities, faced significant challenges due to a lack of cooperation from the U.S. National Science Foundation and Raytheon, complicating the inquiry and raising questions about jurisdictional issues and witness testimonies. Similarly, South African citizens in Antarctica are governed by South African law under the South African Citizens in Antarctica Act of 1962, which places them under the jurisdiction of the Cape Town Magistrates Court. South Africa also incorporates the Antarctic Treaty into its legal framework via the Antarctic Treaties Act of 1996, ensuring that its residents and expeditions adhere to the terms of the treaty. Now, shifting gears, what are your thoughts on the shocking revelations about Antarctica as shared by the last surviving member of the Byrd expedition? We'd love to hear your perspective in the comments below.